as a general partner, moving to venture partner. What's that all about?
Behance was a company that I founded in 2005. 7 years after starting the company, that's when we joined Adobe. And I joined Adobe for 3 years. While I was at Adobe, that's when I decided to try that full-time investor track and just give it a shot. I'd been doing a lot of investing as a side thing and wanted to experience it full-time. And so in the process of doing that, found a great team that I wanted to join, which was Benchmark. And so sort of 6-7 months in, it was really about thinking about what I want to do for the next 10 to 15 years and realizing that I missed the earlier stage.
Yeah.
I had a love that I didn't realize around the seed stage until I kind of missed it, because when I was at Benchmark I wasn't allowed to do any seed investing.
As a venture capitalist for this stint, what did you learn about investors that you didn't really know before as an entrepreneur that entrepreneurs might be very interested in?
A couple observations and tips that I give to entrepreneurs these days as well. The first is that entrepreneurs know that it's all about sales. The problem is that when you oversell the truth, the greatest investors can detect it immediately. The entrepreneurs that I met over the course of my own investing, and I continue to meet through my relationship with Benchmark, that I admire the most are those that are able to say it like it is. If you portray something that they say as an advantage and it's not, they'll actually correct you and say, well, that's not really a sustainable advantage for us. There's just something about that behavior that makes you feel like you can have a longer term relationship with this person and that they will admit the truth to themselves. And that's a really important thing to look for as an investor. One of the things that I struggle with as an investor that I think is an advantage as an entrepreneur is just the optimism in people and in product and in possibilities. As an investor, you're constantly saying no, 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 no. You're looking for flaws and you're quickly cutting bait. As an entrepreneur, you have to be optimistic in people. You're always hiring people before they're actually capable of doing what they're going to have to do. You're always growing into shoes that are bigger. It's an interesting balance between pragmatic ways of looking at the world and being optimistic about the potential. I try with every investment to find something that is a little counterintuitive, a little lean forward, and also something that I can learn from. Pinterest was actually my first ever seed investment back in 2010. The exception to that rule in that investment was the fact that Pinterest was optimizing for something that everyone else was trying to minimize, and that was bounce rate. And here comes Pinterest, where there were literally 5 links to the source on every single pin. Everywhere you touched was a link out. And I'm sure some investors said, well, that can't be a good long-term opportunity if traffic is being given other places. But in fact, what that meant is that the referral sites of people that were getting all the traffic and benefiting were then putting pin buttons on their websites instead of other buttons. And so it was one of those forward-thinking product attributes that I think really made the difference. Pinterest became this incredible referral source across the web.
I associate you so much with the New York startup scene and the New York tech scene here. How do you see that shaping up in the future? Where do you see that going?
I think that New York City might be one of the best places to start a company. When it comes to scaling a company, that's where it can become challenging. It's harder probably to hire a great designer or a great engineer in San Francisco right now than it is in New York.
Yeah.
And also to retain your team in those early years and that journey in between when everyone is sort of suffering and there's no end in sight. I think there's more loyalty in the New York ecosystem, where there's this notion of we stick together, we're going to make this work, and there's less constant noise and confusion around who's raising more money and who's hiring more engineers, and I think there's more of a constant transition, in the valley that we don't have. So there's some real benefits to New York. But when it comes to having to scale a sales force to hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people, or think about potential acquirers, there's a lot of things in the later stages of a company's life that are more easy to confront, I believe, on the West Coast.
One of the other things that you've written and talked about a lot is tech design. What's your latest thinking about where that's headed?
Design in tech is having a renaissance right now, and design has always been sort of important. But what is new about now is that the full stack of technology that's used to build many products is being quickly commoditized, and you can just throw in with lines of code, all these different functions for payments and connecting and social graph access and all these different things. And so what's happening as the stack becomes more commoditized, it's really the interface that's distinguishing a product experience. And as that becomes more true across industries, both consumer and enterprise, the designers at these teams not only need to have the seat at the table, they may even need to be the founder or the co-founder. because design is now becoming the competitive advantage of technology.
You could make the argument that that is a great opportunity for disruption, but also a great opportunity for those existing players in a given market.
I think everyone needs to be more design driven, and again, it doesn't mean having great designers. It means giving designers a voice on product, having product in some ways led by design, and that's more rare still.
Thank you so much for hanging
Thank
out.
you.
This
Thank
has
you
been
for having
awesome.
me. Thank you for the drink.
Yeah.